Hello everyone. This is a follow-up video from my last video. This base design is pretty much the same as my last video, except I actually added more gates because I recently discovered that if you place a gate, you can place a large structure over it or through it, which can't be done if you place a wall section in the same spot. So this base is actually a little bit more secure now than I showcased in the last video. And I'm also going to show how the gate structures should be worked and placed once the whole base is created. And this video will also show all the different phases from the start of the build to the end of the build. So we'll get started. What you're seeing now is the completed base with all gates open or closed in the positions that they should be in. At all times, or during the times that you may be inside the base or gone from the base. But I'll talk about more of that as we go through the phases. So first we'll start with phase 1. This is the bare bones, getting the base started. Place your main foundation. You place 2 foundations extensions. You got your stairs leading up onto one expansion, and then initially you're going to want to place the gates down first, because if you place any buildings, a lot of times it's either difficult or impossible to place the gates afterwards. So make sure you place these gates and wall sections first. Now we'll move into phase 2. So here you're establishing your initial stash. So this is your main stash here in the second level. You've placed a large structure down here, a large structure up here, and you added a staircase and a barrel. And the reason for the barrel is this is going to allow you to access your stash, which I'll show right here. So you can see in this figure here that the gate has been opened, which allows you to jump up on the barrel, up on the gate, and you can take the gate this way to get to your stash, or you can jump up on the roof and then jump down if you want to. Either way works. Alright, moving on to phase 3. So phase 3, you're starting to secure your stash to foot traffic. So you've placed your initial door section here, some additional gate sections here to prevent anyone from just walking up to this gate wall here and placing any explosives. Now we're going to take a look at phase 4. So phase 4 is just continuing to block off your main foundation, and this will prevent anyone from driving a vehicle up and jumping up on your foundation and having access to your main structure wall here. Now on to phase 5, just finishing up securing the edge of the foundation area, and also starting to set up the entrance gauntlet, I guess you could say, they would have to go to in order to reach your stash. So as you can see here, I got kind of an open space here, so it's like, okay, well, this isn't secure, you still got an open space. Someone could drive a vehicle up and jump up on the platform here. But typically this gate here would be left open, which I will show right here. So as you can see, leave this gate open. Anyone who wants to break in has to break through this door, has to destroy either a gate or the structure here to get further into the base to start assaulting it. Moving on to phase 6. So here what you're doing is you're starting to add more barriers. So if any attacker starts blowing through walls or structures, they have more and more explosives they're going to have to use to get to your stash area. So we've added these 4 structures here, so if they get to the front door, and they start blowing open, start blowing through structures, they're going to have more and more barriers to blow through, depending on, if they decide to blow through the gates, then they're going to be going this direction. If they decide to start blowing through structures, then they're going to be going, more towards your stash or to the left. So looking at phase 7, actually, hold on, we got a I got a 6A here I want to show, showcasing once you have these structures in place that you would typically leave all the gates open so that they would be, barricades that would have to be blown through if the attackers go this direction. So you can kind of see better, what I'm kind of strategizing here is whether they decide to blow through gates or decide to blow through structures. So this phase 6, it's pretty secure. So from here on in, it's really just going to be putting layers upon layers and making things even more secure than they already are. So we're going to phase 7 now. So phase 7, like I said before, because it's so secure at this point, started to add the additional foundation expansion, and of course, flesh it out first with gate sections and wall sections. And then moving on to phase 8. So phase 8 is really all about adding an additional secure storage area. You put a large structure here and a large structure here, and as you can see, it's in the same area as the original stash, main stash area, and both, because you placed the gates before, both also have an extra gate protecting them. On to phase 9. So phase 9, again, adding the last foundation expansion, putting the walls up first, the walls and gates, so that any building you place on there, you won't have an issue placing a gate structure later, because they'll already be in place. Phase 10. So phase 10, you're starting to lay the groundwork for a new path to your main stash. So current path is this barrel over here, but in the end you want it to be this barrel over here, which is even more difficult, well, it's pretty much impossible to use any kind of teamwork or exploit to get from this barrel to any surrounding roof structure. Whereas over here we've actually had it tested where if you have a player sitting right here, you could have the person jump from the barrel and kind of bounce off the person's head, and you can with great difficulty reach the roof structure here. But with this barrel, that's not possible. They're not close enough to any surrounding structure to make that happen. So on to phase 11. So here we've completely removed the original barrel because we've added an extra barrier that also acts as an extra walking space to get to the main stash. Before, you could always use the gate bridge here to get to the main stash, but having this flat roof surface makes it a lot easier than trying to balance on a gate bridge. I also added the stairs over here to make it easier, because at some point this is going to be covered, and so this is kind of like pre-planning for the future, for when it's completely surrounded. You already got the stairs in place, so you don't have to worry about doing it at a later time. So phase 12. Actually, I need to show another phase of 11. So once the new stash path is in place, what I did is I went ahead and opened some of these gates. This gate was closed, but now that this barrel is gone, you can open the gate here. You can open this gate right here, which is typically closed. You open that gate there, because now that this building is in place, there's no need for those gates to remain closed. So now, from now on, they pretty much are just going to stay open. And I also wanted to showcase this wall section here. It was here, but when you open it, that's when it allows you to jump on the barrel, jump on the gate, and actually get to the roof and get to your stash. So now we'll move on to phase 12. So phase 12, what we're doing is trying to make the front door a little bit more secure. So you've added a large structure here, and what I'll show is, because this structure is here, it covers where an open space would normally be if this gate were opened. But because this structure is here, this gate here can be opened to cover, act as a double barrier in the door. And this gate that you're seeing right here was actually here, but you could also open that one to kind of cover behind and still make this a strong face against any explosives that may be placed on this ramp. And that's all this is here to showcase, is that once you got this structure placed, you open this gate, you open this gate here, and you've kind of created a little double barriered entrance way. Make it even more difficult to even enter the base. So now to phase 13. So phase 13 is all about finishing off the main stash area. You add a structure stairs, you go ahead and place the large structure here, and now you've completely surrounded the main stash. So phase 14. So phase 14, this is the point in time where you're just kind of wasting the remainder of your metal to kind of put up some remaining walls, sections, and structures to act as additional barriers, or just structures that block or entice the attackers to attack, places and waste explosives that aren't going towards your main stash area. So this phase here, I just wanted to make sure I added some wall sections here, a wall section here, a couple wall sections here, and then the last phase, phase 15, is just finishing it off. So you place the last large structure, large structure, large structure, and then there's another one here. Finish out the wall sections. So the last piece is just kind of circling around to the first slide when the video began, showing you the finished product, all the gates open as intended. So this gate here was here, this gate was here, this gate was here, this gate was here, and then you of course have the 3 gates here that are open. So your entrances, you walk in here as an owner of the base, you come through this gauntlet, close this one, open this one, jump across, and then you can close the gates and open this one again to block off the area, and then you can come back across here. You would open this one, which would cause it to open against this structure here. You could jump across, you can close it behind you. You open this gate to allow you to jump on the barrel, run across the bridge onto the roof. You can close this gate from the roof, then you can run across to the stash. And there you have it. That's about as secure as a base can get as far as I can tell. If you have any tips, I'd love to have them. Thanks for watching.